Because without his support, this FDP wouldn't have been possible. So I extend a warm welcome to our beloved principal, Dr. Pandana. So finally, I extend my heartfelt thanks to our Dean Academics, Dr. V.R. Ravi, and our Dean Placements, Dr. Suresh sir, and also I welcome all the heads and the participants for this today's session. Welcome you all for this, and let us all learn something from this, and then let us all practice it throughout the year based on this practice. Thank you.
For the program. The sharing of knowledge is one of the greatest contributions to society. As a token of our respect and gratitude, I request our principal to honor our distinguished chief guest of today.
Honorable Founder President and Chairman, Governor Celebrating Dr. R. Rangarajan, Honorable Founders President and Vice Chairman, S. Rangarajan Mahavishnu Kishore, our respected Trustee and Assistant Director, Ms. Eskanda Kishore Kumar Bey, our beloved Dean Economics Professor Dr. V.R. Ravi, our resource persons for this PDP, Professional Development Program, Madam Dr. S. Asireka, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Iqac, and the other Madam, Dr. Jacqueline Divya Mary, Assistant Professor, Department of Rural and Entrepreneurship Development, Iqac, Chennai. Third resource person, Dr. M. Srinivasan, Professor and Associate in Training. And the fourth resource person, Dr. A. Padmareka, Professor Civil Engineering, Iqac, Chennai. Dean IPAC, Professor Dr. R. Geeta. When we come tomorrow, something becomes new, as new. Morning also, we were in the boardroom and talking the same. There is nothing definition says that 200% OB definition இதுதான்றது யாருமே வந்து அது லிமிட் பண்ணியோ இத டிஃபைன் பண்ணியோ கரெக்ட்டா இதுதான் சொல்லி சொல்ல முடியல. So every individual has got their own understanding, and accordingly they take it into their mind and they deliver actually. But anyway, whatever your understanding, whether it suits for the delivery mechanism, that is very, very important in teaching learning process. So therefore, today's crowd is a very important crowd. All our seniors, HODs, senior professors, and maybe almost 40, crowd here. At least 40 plus 40. By looking this 40, if other 40, if they get inspired, and then 80, they go and deliver. With this 5 days workshop, having observed, and if one or two in the department they inspire by seeing you, about this OB practices, I think that makes some sense and meaning. Come on, let me see today what is the topic. Okay, இன்னைக்கு நான் இந்த டாபிக் एक्चुअली வந்துட்டு இதோட அவுட்கம் என்னன்றதை நம்ம பார்க்க போறோம். டெப்த் ஆஃப் தி டாபிக் एक्चुअली வந்துட்டு நாலேஜ் லெவல் ஆஃப் தி டாபிக் என்ன மாதிரி அப்படினு சொல்லிட்டு புரியுதா இல்லையா? So now the topic here, they say that AI integrated blending along with this traditional OB, process all these things. Tools which are available to integrate and where you can make use of for your teaching learning process. Wherever you see, in all the places, everywhere, talk of the term AI, artificial intelligence. Instead of human, AI, talks something like that. When you click about your topic with the LCD or LED, automatically the topic comes out. Whether you prepare or not for that particular topic, yes, the AI prepares everything and just it throws out. ChatGPT, very nice. You can put it as a text message. ChatGPT, correct? So world is becoming like modern trend. How smart things are active today, so that you should also become smart. You should also become smart. Professor Malati madam, correct தானே? So that நம்ம ஏன் வந்து பின்னாடி போகணும், நம்ம ஏன் பின்தள்ளி, you can also become smart by learning, by engaging, yourself with learning, so that you will become very smart. You will become very smart. அப்போ கிளாஸ்ல கூட ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் வந்து உண்மையிலேயே நம்ம ஸ்மார்ட் ஆயிடலாம்னா நம்மளை நல்லா ஏமாத்துறாங்க, கரெக்ட் தானே? நம்ம ஸ்மார்ட் ஆயிடலன்னு சொன்னா அவன் ஸ்மார்ட் ஆயிடலாம். நம்ம ஸ்மார்ட் ஆயிட்டா ஒரு நாள் 2 நாள் தான் ஏமாற்ற முடியும், 3ஆவது நாள் ஏமாற்ற முடியாது, மாட்டிப்பாங்க. கரெக்ட். இன்புட்ஸ் ஆக்சுவலாக நிறைய விஷயங்கள் சொல்றாரு, வந்துட்டு ரொம்ப டெக்னிக்கலா சவுண்டா இருக்காரு, நம்ம எதுவும் வந்துட்டு அவரை வந்துட்டு வேற மாதிரி எல்லாம் நம்ம பண்ண முடியாது, திலுமுள்ளு பண்ண முடியாது, கிளாஸ்ல வந்து கிண்டல் அடிக்க முடியாது, போனை ஒழிச்சு வச்சுக்கிட்டு கீழெல்லாம் வந்துட்டு சேட் பண்ண முடியாது, நிறைய வேலைங்க பண்றாங்க. ஏன்னா பசங்க வந்துட்டு நம்ம ஏமாந்துட்டா உங்க ஐவியூ இல்லாம போயிடுச்சுன்னா 270 டிகிரிஸ் அட்லீஸ்ட் 60 டிகிரிஸ் உங்க ஐவியூ வந்து அவங்க முன்னாடி இல்லாம போயிட்டா அவன் எல்லாமே பண்றான். உள்ளுக்குள்ள வந்து வாத்தியார் வராரு, 2 பேப்பர் வச்சுக்கிட்டு போர்டில் வந்துட்டு ஒப்பிக்கிறாரு, நம்மளை பார்க்கறதே இல்லை. சரி, நம்மளை கேட்டாலும் தப்பு, நம்மளை கேட்டா திருப்பி வேற மாதிரி நம்ம ஏதாவது கேட்டோம்னு சொன்னா அவங்களும் அந்த மாதிரி நிலையில தான் இருக்கிறாங்க. எப்படிங்க? இப்போ நம்ம ஏதாவது கேட்டோம்னு சொன்னா அவங்க ஏதாவது பதில் சொல்றதும் கஷ்டமா இருக்கும் போது நம்மளும் என்ன நினைக்கிறோம், நம்ம தேவையில்லாம ஒன்று கேட்டு அவங்க ஏதாவது ஒரு கொஸ்டின் கேட்டுக்கிறோம், நமக்கு எதுக்கு இந்த வம்புன்னு சொல்லி கூட நம்மளோட சைலண்ட் ஆயிடும் சம்டைம்ஸ் வந்து. கரெக்ட் தானே? பிகாஸ் அவர் ப்ரிப்பரேஷன் இஸ் நாட் மீட்டிங் த ரெக்வயர்மெண்ட், அவர் ப்ரிப்பரேஷன் இஸ் குட். தென் ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்காக யார் என்ன பண்ணாலும் கிளாஸ்ல வெரைட்டி அடிக்கலாம். பட் ஃபார் ஆல் ஆஃப் தட் நம்மளோட டைம் வந்து நிறைய ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணணும், லேர்னிங்க்கு வந்து நிறைய ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணணும். எவ்வளோ லேர்ன் பண்ணுறோமோ அப்போதான் வந்து நம்மளோட பண்ணாம நம்ம வாயில வடை சுட்டா லேர்ன் பண்ணாம வாயில வடை சுட்டோம்னு சொன்னா நம்ம வேல்யூ வந்து மைனஸ்ல தான் டிக்ரிமெண்ட் ஆகி தான் போகும், ஒவ்வொரு நாளும் ஒரு இன்க்ரிமெண்டல் இம்ப்ரூவ்மெண்ட், we need to see. இன்னைக்கு நம்ம ஏதாவது ஒன்று பண்ணோமா, நல்ல விஷயம் பண்ணோமா, எதையாவது ஒன்று கற்றுக்கிட்டோமா, எதையாவது ஒன்று கொஞ்சோண்டு கிளாஸ்ல போய் சொன்னது நமக்கு சாட்டிஸ்ஃபேக்ஷன் இருக்கா? இன்னைக்கு நான் வந்து ஒரு 30 மினிட்ஸ் டெலிவரி பண்ண ஒரு கிளாஸ்ல வந்துட்டு நான் வெளியில வரும்போது அப்பா நான் சாட்டிஸ்ஃபைடா இருந்துச்சு, இன்னைக்கு ஒரு தினமத்தில அவ்வளோ பயங்கரமா வந்துச்சு, நல்லா பேசினேன், ஓபியை பிளண்ட் பண்ணி ஓபி கான்செப்ட்ஸ் உள்ள கொண்டு போய் அந்த ஓபியோட சேர்த்து என்னோட டீச்சிங் வந்து எனக்கு பியூட்டிஃபுல்லா நான் பண்ணேன் அப்படின்றத சொல்லி நான் வந்து கிளாஸ் முடிச்சுட்டு வந்தேன். ஓபியை வந்து சொல்லாமே நான் வரவே இல்லை வெளியில, ஓபியை பத்தி சொல்லாமே நான் வெளியிலேயே வரல. ஓபியை பத்தி நீங்க சொன்னாலே அது ஒரு பெரிய விஷயம் தான். கிளாஸ்ல வந்து மறக்காம நீங்க டெய்லி வந்துட்டு ஓபி அப்படின்றத உன்னோட கோர்ஸ் லேர்னிங் அவுட்கம் யூனிட் 1, வாட் இஸ் யுவர் கோர்ஸ் லேர்னிங் அவுட்கம், வாட் இஸ் யுவர் CO1 அப்படின்னு ஒன்று சொல்றோம், CO2 அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம், அது நாலேஜ் லெவல் வேர் இட் ஸ்டாண்ட்ஸ் ஆக்சுவலா வந்துட்டு how are you in classroom அப்படின்ற மாதிரி வந்து ஒரு சந்தோஷம் ஃபீட்பேக் எங்களை கேட்பாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்துட்டு என்ன சார் நாங்கள் 5 நாள் வந்துட்டு இங்கே டெலிவரி பண்ணது உங்களுக்கு யூஸ்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்கா இல்லையா, அவங்க மக்கள் கொண்டு போய் சேர்க்குறாங்களா கிளாஸ் ரூமில் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி வந்து கண்டிப்பாக ஒரு MOU சைன் பண்ண போகிறோம். NITRR வந்துட்டு நிறைய விஷயங்களுக்காக மல்டிபிள் இதுக்காக வந்துட்டு நாங்கள் ஒரு MOU வந்து சைன் வித் NITRR. அப்படி இருக்கும்போது ஸ்டார்ட் அப் லெவலில் EDC என்டர்பிரினர்ஷிப் டெவலப்மெண்ட் இது, அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து ஒரு சில ஓபி ப்ராக்டிசஸ்லேயே வந்துட்டு கொஞ்சம் டீப்பாக 2 சைடும் வந்து ஒர்க் பண்ணுற மாதிரி இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய விஷயங்கள் வந்து ஒரு கொலாபரேஷன் நல்ல
objective of my session. So here and there I will be just giving you some informations. Maybe if you are a friend, I have given the list of participants also. So I find like all are senior post people, so at HODs and professor level, and you are in the beginners level also. To covering all the people in the forum, you will have here and there some connecting dots, and you will see through some of the topics which you can concentrate on to improve the outcome-based education. Because outcome-based education is not a new topic to us. Okay? So in this, we are going to understand why, how, and the future. Okay? So this is how the flow is planned for this session. So why OBE? What are the traditional system gaps? Okay? OBE's philosophy. To share your knowledge.
To make the student think.
Okay, to make the students think. Very nice. Any other inputs?
Make you understand.
make him understand. Okay. So it is not.
To know, to understand and be able to do the things.
Yes.
In learning practice.
Yes. Any other inputs from this side? So it's very clear. We are not here to cover only the syllabus or the topics given to us or the tasks given to us. Okay. So there is a transition occurring from. Okay. I have taught. It's not like that. Okay. What you have learned. Okay. So the question is reverse now. Okay. What you have taught from what you have learned is the question which the OBE makes us to think. Okay. What is the skill you have achieved out of, I am teaching you one topic which, what is the skill you are able to achieve out of that? As principals are also highlighted, the outcome based education is going to be evaluated based on the skills. Okay. Skills the student is achieving after completing the course. Okay. So that is how OBE is measured, and OBE is like the transformation of this question. Okay. What the students is able to do after completing a subject or a course or the entire program. Okay, so that is what is the main thing which the OBE is concentrating. So you can see here, it is not important what we teach. It is important what the students learn and demonstrate. So that is the way your outcome-based education is given to you. So when you talk about outcome-based education, okay, so if you are new, okay, have you all heard about this the terminologies?
Yes.
Okay, what is this? Because we will have a discussion because there is nothing to tell you. What is this Washington Accord?
It is a knowledge profile where we can match with the course outcome.
Okay. Any other inputs?
Quality management system of education.
Okay. Qualities and management system. Any other inputs?
It's a global standard.
Yes. See, it is a standard which was given worldwide. Okay. All engineering graduates has to be uniformly evaluated. So for that they introduced this Washington Accord. So it is like specifically for engineering colleges they adapted this Washington records. Okay. So from this only your Bloom's taxonomy, all other things are being originating. So how you have to frame your courses like objectives, your program objectives, your PEOs and PSOs, all those things goes in order. Okay. So what this is nothing but in our India, okay, signed made a signature on June 13, 2014. From there, okay, what happens? Whatever the curriculum which we give, and it has been aggregated by MBA, means what their recognition they are getting is nothing but global scope. Okay, our education standards are being accepted globally. So if a student completes an engineering degree in India, okay, how he will be evaluated in foreign university? Previously, it was not the situation. Like they will have to do some equivalent courses to get their admission in their universities. Now it is not a requirement because we are also seeing that standards of your global universities are met. Why we are, since we are going to follow this. So this is the beginning. Okay, this is the beginning, and around 20 plus nations has signed in this, following this Washington Accord. So that whichever the student, for example, most of our students goes for higher studies. So in that case, if they want to globally stand it, they have to complete the degree, an aggregated degree via MBA. Okay, so not the college alone. Okay, the course also should be aggregated. Then only they will be eligible for the equivalence in the universities which they are applying for. They don't need to do any prerequisites or courses to join that particular university. So for that only we are doing this particular outcome-based education process. And this, when you are basically you are getting your MBA certificate first, you can, any autonomous college can move to Tier 1. So that is the way we are planning our, what is the basic idea of outcome-based education. And we all know this hierarchy, okay? So without knowing this hierarchy, we will not be able to understand this outcome-based objectives. So this are not going to detail out because we have a separate section on how you are going to do your course COPO mapping and all these things. But given the principle, okay, so MBA accreditation is built on this particular structure. Okay, so any course you are going to take means you are going to specify what is the objective. Okay, so that is what. So you have to define it. Okay, what is your plan? Okay, so that is what is your course objectives, and that will be mapped with your course outcomes. So you can see here COs are achieved means your PO attainment will be computed, and next your PEO attainment inferred, your gap analysis, action taken, and your curriculum and the pedagogy improvements will be done. It's a cyclic process, a continuous improvement process, a continuous quality improvement process. Okay, so that is what is the very important step we have to follow when we are doing this. This is not only a paperwork. Okay, so we should not see that OB is a paperwork. So given a course, I will see that what is the course outcome. So whether it is meeting with the program specific outcomes or whether the PO is matching or not. So it is a cyclic process. For one batch, if you have done that, what pedagogical practices has influenced the students? Okay, what went wrong? What are the things which I have to do improvement? All the things you have to concentrate. So that is what is this stack actually tells us. Okay, so this is a cyclic process and a repetitive process which everybody has to follow to see that every year your attainments are getting better and better. Okay, so since we are having a entire session on this, I'm just going through the introduction. So okay, coming to the point. Okay, everybody says I am following outcome-based education. So both these columns represents a same institute. Okay. So what are the points given here? I define course outcomes. I design program outcomes. I design COPO mapping. I do semester attainment sheets. I do SAR and NBA reports. Okay, everybody are doing. Okay. Coming to the industry point of view, if you see that employers, okay, employers are the important stakeholders. If you see that they still see that there are certain problems even after we are doing that also. So that is the point we have to think for. Okay, what is still lagging in our teaching methodology? How we are standing behind the other top foreign universities who are able to do this? Okay, how to improve our teaching practices? So, for example, graduates mainly lack some problem solving. Okay, given a topic to problem solving, we should not definitely teach the theoretical concepts of how to write an algorithm or how to write a pseudocode. Okay, we should definitely ask them to do some in real-time implementation. We should be from the semester one. Okay, it's not a problem because the school education is also following NAP 2020. Okay, they are also improvising the curriculum. In that case, why can't we start ahead? Why? And the 9th standard, 8th standard itself, they are studying Python. So now the world is set. There is no more basics at all in the current for the current era. Okay, we can go with the advanced topic itself. Give them problem. There are lots and lots of materials available, lots and lots of resources available in our internet. Okay, internet is open to us, and that too for a country like us, it is available very cheap of cost also. Okay, so in that case, everybody is staying connected nowadays online. Why can't we start practicing that real problems are being given to them so that they are meeting the industry standards? Communication skills are really weak. Okay, where to address this? So of course we are getting students mixed background, rural background, 7.5 category, students who are not exposed to much of language. Okay, how to handle them? So it is our responsibility to see that how their communications and confidence levels are being improved, so that they can face the employer very comfortably. And next is, they are all now, the important problem here is nothing but the team. Okay. Just scan the QR code and give some inputs. Outcome-based education exists, but outcomes don't improve. Okay. Where do you feel that? I have given you some list of points. Maybe with respect to your institution or to your practices, what kind of difficulties you feel you can give us an inputs here. But how to use the mobile phones very effectively, this is one such tool, you can make a note of it. It is called Slido. It is an active learning strategy tool. In between your sessions, okay, if you want to see that all the students are getting involved in your classroom, you can add it in your PPT itself. Just go to Google, type Slido for PPT. Okay, whatever the operating system you are using, based on that you can download it. live. If you install it, when the next time when you open your presentation, you will be able to include these kind of questions inside your presentation. So the first tool I am introducing you is something called Slido, which is an active learning strategy. So I told you about this short span. Okay, every 15 minutes interval of your class, after you discuss the topic, you can infuse a question here. Okay, so that students also will be actively involved in them. The main advantage of this particular tool you can see is that how many number of active participants who have answered this question also is visible. So we have 40 participants here. We have 11 participants have typed and 4 are type 8. What about the remaining people? Done, sir? Yes. So we have only 12 plus 5, 13 plus 5. So I should get 40 responses. Then only I can give a break for tea now. So this you can see here. Actually, what this is, I've generated is nothing but I've generated a word cloud for you. Okay. So this is the output of a word cloud. Whatever based on your inputs from the audience we are getting, whichever is having a higher font is the repeated content of the audience inputs. That is one information you can get. And from the inputs you can see that what are the things you are having in your mind. Okay, so a few people have said lack of interest from students. True. Okay. So how to pull the interest of the students so that our outcome-based education is also being achieved. Okay. And next is evidence and documentation is really a hard thing. I understand. Almost we are doing many times that only. But that is a part of the system. Okay. But if you evolve yourself by practicing, that doesn't become a headache because we have so much digital tools evolving also. We have to know, as rightly pointed by your principal sir, we have to think about how to work smart, okay? How to be aligned with the students' mentality of how to use the technology and how to use it in our classroom teaching is what is required in the current era. And you can say few people have, everybody says lack of interest, no prior knowledge, okay, OBE tools. Are students still reading books? This question is out of question.
They are reading PDF.
Okay, they are reading PDF, okay, digital contents. Okay, not PDF also, say PPT, whatever you do only. So in that case, because they want points, okay, they want points. How to improve that itself? We have lots of digital. Okay, not PPT. Given a PPT, how they have to learn. For us, that also we have to do for some tools. Okay, displayed on the screen. The question was, name one one reason OB document exists but outcomes don't improve. What is the summary here? Assessment 1, psychic test 1, whatever name you call in your college. Okay, so that 1, 2, and then your final assessment. And then your attainment will be calculated only at the end of the semester. So how to bring this active learning strategies so that immediate or adaptive learning strategies, okay, which will improvise the students. Okay, maybe the midterm review, okay, of the students has to be definitely conducted, and your ERP systems or the digital platform which you are adapting in your college environment itself should give you some information. Because we, as computer science faculties or from circuit branches, will be able to understand some visualization format. Whereas for non-circuit branches, it will be a little bit difficult. But as data, you won't understand. But as a graph, if I am going to give you, everybody will be able to understand. So better visualization also will help you to improve all those things. So we know all data exist, okay, in papers and in reports. Okay, how to bridge that in the classroom is what is. Okay, so next 15-20 minutes we will have an activity. After the tea break, you can come and we'll continue with that. So you can see that the wake-up call here. Okay, so what your outcome-based education demands, why we are moving to this outcome-based education is, you can see here, the industry demand gap. Okay, so the lack of problem-solving, communication, and teamwork, which was not formally measured in the traditional exams. See, for example, you can take your CO exam. Okay, you can take anyone CO. So you can see they should be able to design a system or something like that. Your outcome is defined like that. Can you ask a question in your theory to design a website? Can we give that type of question in a make you practically implement the laboratory sessions are there. But in the theoretical sessions we have to plan it accordingly. So maybe you can ask them to write the steps, okay, or what is the process involved, okay, how you illustrate the steps, like that you can ask. You cannot directly ask them to design something in the theory paper. So you have to have a clear segregation of where, what to do and how to improve his skill, okay. So and also the industry demands, okay, what is the industry demand? So always they want, say nowadays we are not, when we are tired, okay, maybe as a working woman I should say that, when I go home, if I am tired, okay, immediately what comes into me, like, okay, why can't I go for study today, okay, that will be, I want anything instantly, okay, so industry also has the same requirement. We all want, they want ready-made products to be put on the project deployment. They don't want training. Previously, Infosys and all, some MNCs, they do training separately and then they deploy it on the project. But there is now no that kind of practice. They want all ready-made things, okay, which can satisfy the needs. So that is what is your industry demand gap. So we have to prepare the student in such a way that the demand has been met or not. So we have to make them industry ready. So that is what is your industry. That's the first wake-up call. And next is global competitiveness. We are saying that we are in NBA aggregated university. Okay, when our students go to the top university to pursue, they should not ask what you did in UG. Okay, so we should improve that competency level by making them to work on that direction from here itself. Okay, so we also have to see that without just estimating them, without evaluating them without marks. Okay, how you can see that the performance is getting improved, because we see students who are able to get higher marks will not be able to do in practicals, but students who are able to get low marks will be able to do in practicals. But what is the industry demand is the labor who is able to do group works. But what we do as placement in officers, we stop them and we say that this much percentage only go for top companies. So we have to see that the evaluation pattern also changes. So what is next is, it is mandate now. Accreditation is also mandate and sees that we are aligned with the outcome-based education. So we have to evaluate the learning outcomes and not syllabus coverage or faculty qualifications, is only how the content is reaching the student and how they are able to use it in their classes. And mainly OBE is student-centric, okay? It is learner-centric and actually not what was taught for how many hours or what's the textbook cover. So what is their understanding level is what is the current focus of your outcome-based education. So I have just given a glimpse of what is OBE. Next, it's my responsibility to also give a clarity, okay, what some myths and facts, okay, about OBE. Because everybody is practicing OBE, we will do a group activity now. Don't give simple yes or whether it's a myth or fact. Give with justification. So that is your group activity now. Okay, we will come with clarity of outcome-based education with this help of these 8 statements. It's a myth. So all things say myth. Anything says true? No. Okay. So everybody says it's a myth.
What you say?
Sir?
What is your opinion?
Yes, I will say, sir.
Yes.
Sir, your name, sir? Your name, sir? And who is sir?
My name is Dr. Padichami.
Padichami.
Mechanical.
Very nice, sir. Padichami, sir, say number 1 to 8, sir.
My number 1 is
No, any number between 1 to 8.
7.
Okay, who is team number 7? 1. One junior faculty from team 1. So we will hear from what they are saying, okay? And we'll come. The next slide I will show what I have. Okay? Please maintain silence. So it is like it's a doubt clearing. Please listen. It's like a doubt clearing session. Everybody will have their own thoughts. Okay, I will also have my own thoughts. Okay, as told, OB is not having a proper clarity, so we will come to a clarity now. Okay, we'll hear from your fellow mates how do you observe in your institute. Okay, and what are the things which you are also you can need from other teams. Okay, apart from 1 and 7, other team members also can give your inputs, and we will try to understand. Okay, so this type of activity is called as
mapping is equal to OBE tools. That is, if COPO mapping is done, then OBE is done. Actually, this is not true. That is, there is a myth. We are actually making the COPO mapping through the marks. Okay. The marks are based on the direct attainment, indirect attainment, and many other tools. But even though the marks are attained for that, the OBE seems to not attain. Why? We have to think bigger. Is the students may not have skills. They may have knowledge. They may acknowledge that they may not have skills to do a particular thing. And the question paper to be updated to check the technical skills. The student have to do something instead of just memorizing and omitting on the paper. So that is the fact here.
Thank you, sir. Your input, sir.
Actually, ma'am, as I said, same thing I also observed. But as in COPO mapping, it is a direct and indirect assessment. Based on assessment, we are giving marks. But here, with acts of student-centered learning, whatever we have learned about the subject, we are giving the outputs, and same things we are getting from the assessment. So it is not done for the OBE.
So as any other additional inputs you are having, points to be added?
COPO mapping is not only the parameter for the outcome-based education. It has so many parameters like curriculum design, trending technologies, teaching learning, effectiveness. So these are some other parameters. So we cannot trust only the COPO mapping.
Okay. So everybody is clear? Any points apart from what madam has given? Any other team? So team 1 has represented, team 7 has represented, team 8 also has represented. Any other inputs from other teams? Any points? Okay. So the point is, we are following an assessment patterns. Okay, like we have a question answer, so we are adapt that. Okay, so how do we frame our questions does not help us to analyze the skill of the student. Okay, so that is the main problem. So Charles, I have also said this is a common misconception because we say that the criteria 3 satisfied. Okay, done. Okay, it's not like that. Okay, so you can see it is like only a for the documentation. Okay, it's not a OB itself. Okay, implementation means you have to visibly draw how you teach, as Sir told, the pedagogical practices. Okay, how students are accessed. Okay, and next is how you close the loop when attainment falls short. Okay, so it is a repetitive process. Okay, we have to be very clear. Okay, so next, standing here, what do you sir? Another team of what do sir? 2. Okay, then the team சொல்லுங்க.
2 and 7 teams are there.
Oh, 8 does.
2 and 7.
2 and 7. Okay. So the next senior person from 7 and junior person from 2 can come. We'll see that everybody
Good morning. The statement 2, high attainment percentage equal to real learning achieved. Here it is in this because we cannot check each and every chapter of the subject. That is a main thing. But when you want to get high attainment means the student should go through all the chapters with technical skills. So that probably they are not learning with technical skills. What we have discussed in the first statement.
So all these things, if you see that, it is, okay, let them complete and come.
That is attainment can be achieved by CO mapping and getting the assessment marks. But real-time global problems they have to solve. That is right.
The students are working in the subject, they can get more marks.
Exactly, that is what I was also about to tell. The higher attainment, it maps only to the memorization. Okay, what they have, what they are able to reproduce out of the memories, marking up or some whatever they are able to do it. With that, we cannot come to a conclusion that high attainment will have a real learning achievement. Any other points? Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Suppose we have that target. Suppose 50 marks means minimum 50 marks is a target. Suppose 60 and above, 70 and above marks, it's based on marks.
That is not a threshold.
It's based on the
That is
threshold.
attainment. That is different. That is different. The question here is if the student, if the class, okay, is having high attainment, does it mean that we have attained? It's not like that. Okay. So it may be
not that attainment.
not that attainment. It's only conceptually we are talking. So conceptually, if the students are able to reproduce based on a higher order thinking question, then only we can go with the attainment. Okay. It is only like memorization, the type of questions. This will not be a good idea. Okay. So it reflects on how well students, not necessarily whether the outcome is achieved or not. Okay. Any other inputs you want to share? Okay, everybody is with it. Okay? Right? Yes. Okay. So third point. Yaro volunteer anything like Pati Ariyath Keklama.
I'll give it.
Yes, sir, please.
So OB can't assess soft skills meaningfully. In fact,
Okay, sir.
because this is not something measurable.
Okay.
When it goes with qualitative contents, it cannot be genuinely assessed. So OB is away from soft skill measurement.
Okay. Any other inputs? So what are the pillars of soft skill?
Ma'am, but I think PO is part of it.
Okay, so how many, which all team says it's myth? Some teams are can you come up with some answer? So we have certain keywords, right?
It can be assessed.
It can be assessed, ma'am. When it comes to English curriculum, you can find it is related with PO 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, we have communication skills, lifelong learnings, okay, teamwork, okay. So by taking into consideration of these keywords, okay, so definitely we can map the.
Suppose we are setting proper rubrics and then we can
Not mapping, assess.
Yeah, we can assess yes, the communication. Every course has a, every program has a project. Okay, so that project is being evaluated for this, how their presentation marks are there, how their feedback noting is done. All those things come in that particular course also.
Ma'am,
So
it's
it depends on the
situational
course.
based.
Yes.
It is situational based, ma'am, but you cannot.
Nowadays we have capstone project in almost all the courses.
Yeah, in project we can assess this.
Yes, projects also you can assess. It's not with respect to the syllabus. Okay, if the syllabus is having a aligned, so if the syllabus is having an aligned patterns to handle all these things, so always we should not stick on with the syllabus and the POs. Okay, syllabus also, that is why that autonomous feature is given to us. We have to see that it maps with all the POs. Okay, so that the students will have a better, the entire batch will have a better assessment. Okay, so that is what is the statement. You can do it. Okay, so So,
Ma'am, one question in this, ma'am. Actually, here there is a placement rating system. They're also awarding marks to the placement training, which is a part of the. Can we map that with
is it an audit course or something like that?
Audit is not necessary. It's not a
One course you can add. It is a part of the training course. The audit course also. It's not It's not like implement this, implement that. Okay, if you are giving really a case study and if they are implementing it, that also will not come to ethical practices.
In few institutions, they are arguing that they are not copying, no, so ethics is implemented there.
See, ethics,
Laboratory courses. Mapping of
if they are reproducing something from the already existing code means you cannot claim as an ethics firm. If the innovative question is innovative, maybe you can consider.
Otherwise, not copying cannot be considered as
Not copying is not directly related to them. Again, I am telling you the implementation followed. Okay. Suppose he is innovatively typing the code and following the ethical practices of not reproducing from the internet or something can be claimed as without plagiarism of the code. You can. But nowadays, if you are having AI tools, again that cannot come into ethics. Because all the IDs platforms are now integrated with AI. So now people are not writing coding because they have an environment called no code, low code environment. So that is the future. Okay, then in that case, how do you say that it is ethically good or not? So it's not.
the majority mapping is reasonable or minimal mapping is reasonable because no.
So wherever is required alone you have to.
Perception differs. One committee is coming and telling why all subjects are mapped. Another
If
committee
you are
is
seeing
telling
nowadays what happens as per the SDG, they are changing the courses content also. Okay, mapping with SDGs. Okay, so that type of curriculum design almost matches with. If everybody has to told your question, ethics will not only map with the ethics subject. It's not like that. Okay, if you are planning your course curriculum accordingly, ethics can be mapped. Okay, with the help of your SDG. So that is possible. Only
at least with the error.
Yes. Only thing is we have to redesign the curriculum accordingly so that it mapping comes. So it is not only that ethics subject should be mapped with ethics. Okay. So the curriculum refinement, maybe you have one session on that SDG based curriculum design. So Professor Srinivasan sir is expertise in that. He will tell you how you can map with the POs and design your curriculum in such a way. Okay. And next is statement 4. Anyone can say, sir volunteers, Swaminathan sir volunteer, anyone? Volunteers? No. So it is again a bit. Okay. Justification for that?
Once they know the outcomes, then it becomes deep learning.
Okay.
They start learning the meaning and there is
Yes.
outcome driven learning.
Okay, so your objectives. So always when you are designing something, okay, for example, if a builder is also building something, okay, so he is putting a plan, okay. So in that case, he will estimate, okay, how this has to become, how this room has to be constructed, what it have, how many windows has to be constructed, everything is having that. Okay, so you should be having a proper outcome. Okay, so your outcome should be known clearly, means definitely a good learning will be happening. So next statement 5.
Yes.
All things are saying fact. Yes. Okay. So okay, let me ask you a question. How many minutes you give to a parent to get that survey? And how many minutes you give for a student? They are coming to collect the mark list, okay, for course completion. If you fill this form only, I will give you. This is what we ask, right?
Time duration is inconsistent, madam. I agree with parent.
See, parents are in the exit survey. Okay. What is the time frame we are going to do, or what conditions we are imposing to the students, okay, or parents, so that we are getting the response?
Depends.
Depends. Okay. Or how much time the parent is spending, or how much time the stakeholder is spending on giving your inputs. See, whenever the NBA leg comes, we do that, right? Okay. Okay, we send all data to our alumni, we send all our mails to so many things we collected. Okay, so how do you say that this survey feedback is really a valid feedback? So everybody accepted with it is a fact.
It's reliable, indirect one, but the weightage will be very low.
Weightage is 20% here. Assume it is 20% also.
If it is done right, it is a reliable method. If it is not done right,
That's what my question is it done reliably?
It depends on the instruction what we are giving before giving the feedback.
Okay.
Instructions need to be clear.
How are you assessing it? What measures you are taking to improve that? How many of the feedbacks of the parents and how many of the feedbacks of the employer you have analyzed?
before going for the DAB, no, we have taken all these things and we have analyzed.
What type of analysis you have done?
This time based on the curriculum, what courses we can introduce so that we can bridge the gap between the institute and the industry.
Okay.
So they have given the suggestion like we can have data structures, advanced data
This is from
structures.
your input from industry.
Yeah, input from the industry. Similarly from alumni, existing students also who through those exit survey also.
How many inputs you have got?
Sample data. And industry is also we got. And currently also we have updated our 2021
Okay, so now we can come to a conclusion, right? It cannot be directly called as a fact. Okay, other factors are influencing to be called as a fact. Okay, so that is my conclusion. What do you accept it or not? So yes. Okay. So my conclusion again is a okay, because there are other factors which we influences. Okay, how do we get the data? Okay, maybe you have to have it as a regular practice. Okay, then that will be a procedure. Okay, so that it improves this.
Deadline for survey feedback.
So that's what the periodically. So again, periodically matters. Okay, much of your MBA will not give you a output. Okay. So next statement 6. Yes, it's not be stable. Okay, so that is what OB says. It's a repeatable process. Okay, so it should be refined. That's what we were also talking in the previous thing also. So the attainment. Okay, what we help you to refine it. Okay. So next is statement 7. Obviously. The CA post faculty sir is saying that it is obvious, right? Because again, the tools which is going to be used for doing that mapping. See, for 50 students, we can do it. Okay. Already we are having so many Excel sheets with formulas. If we give the inputs, it is giving. Okay. Many of us has to go and track what is the formula written for each and every cell. Okay. Because we don't bother about it. We just paste the assessment marks. Our attainments are calculated. But when 50 students like, okay, then the computation is going to grow. Okay, for the hundreds of students or 500 of students, definitely we need the support of these tools. So and also these tools are nothing but they are data generators. Okay, when we are using these digital tools, they themselves serve as a data-driven solutions. So in that case, AI can definitely replace manual CO tracking. Already there are tools for that also. And next is, I always tell any digital tool if you take in this current era is having a magic word. What is that magic word? That star kind of thing will be blinking everywhere. Okay. So that magic word, if you click, it will do all our works for us. So in that case, definitely the tools which already exist for digital tools here, now that Excel is also having the magic tool. Okay. So in that case, we can do our task very simply. So it is a fact. So statement 8. Yes, because active learning methods are definitely required in many cases. So is it clear? So these are some of the things which we can debate and come to a conclusions like what is OBE. Okay, everybody is doing that. Okay, but here and there we had some conflicts. We are
except one or two questions.
Yes,
relative only.
Yes, relative only, but whether we are restricting ourselves is what this is what is this, we should not. everything is together is what is OBE is my main point I want to say it as a takeaway at here. Okay? So we have to see that pedagogical practices, the assessment practices, the way the students are being monitored. Okay, so like assignments are nothing but it's not only one term. You should not see that assessments. Okay, so if you are giving assessments one time, don't give. Okay, so you give an opportunity. That is what is like. For example, you cannot draw a graph. Say that all students have been attained. Okay, so straight line, but you can see here the graph goes ups and downs. Okay, for this student to attain this, they require a different strategy. For another student who is having a minimal gap between the attainment, they have a different strategies. Okay, so that is why we say that we need a system. Okay, which is going to a solution for all. Okay, so all solution does not fit everyone also. So that's why we have to go for an adaptive learning strategies, which is going to meet the requirements of each and every individual. For example, if you consider a slow learner, okay, what you can do is something, but you can again go back for him. Okay, go back and give him some prerequisites. Okay, materials. Okay, so that he will also cope up with that particular topic. Give him options to attempt the assessment 1 or 2 times. Nothing wrong. Okay, our objective is to attain the final one. Okay, see if our kids are in our young age, they are falling 100 times. Okay, then only they are working. They are not telling they are failing every time. Okay, they are improving. Okay, that is how we have to adapt to a new system. So we have to give opportunities, nothing wrong. Okay, that's why always after the first assessment 1, we compute the weak students. We give them opportunity to take an assessment. So that it is not only to, in the students' perspective, it might be like we are making them to improve the internals. It is not that. We are making them to learn. Okay. So they will.
Failing is also good for future.
Yes. That failing is actually philosophically it's good, but when it comes to again the methodology ways, you can give them a chance. Okay. So okay, let them fail. Let them retake the answers. Okay. Same question paper also you give nothing wrong. Only what we are trying to do is something, but we are seeing that the line is being attained by everyone. Okay. That is what is our outcome. Okay. So different students with different levels, okay, we have to see that different practices has to be brought in. Suppose if a student is very outperforming, give them a project, okay, give them an application oriented project, whether he is conceptually able to apply it. It's all these things, you cannot do it in a manual work. I am telling you. Okay, this is again it will be a burden for us. Again, when the session was started, somebody was saying we are already doing lots of paperwork. Okay, it's acceptable.
But this fast learners concept is already there in the college.
Yes, very good. But how do you monitor it? Okay, for that we have to rely on some digital tools. Maybe can you give me information whether any LMS or ERP systems are here? Any LMS?
Source code for entering the marks.
Okay. It's only for marks. But you have these types of practices can be adapted only if you go for a specific learning management practice. Okay. So this learning management tools will instantly give a feedback to the student. Okay. How the student is able to perform in that particular assessment. What action you have to take in for the student. Automatically, you can design your tool that the student gets below the mark. Ask him to attempt to view this video and then retake the question. Suppose his performance is greater, ask him to do this project. So that will be as a monitoring. So our administrative task will be reduced if you are going aligned with the tools. Okay,
Autonomous, the process in which automation can be.
Yes. So I will introduce in my Wednesday and Thursday session some tools. They will not depend on the institution should provide. You can also individually start for your courses also, so that the monitoring simplifies. Otherwise, why I have to take the pain will be the first question which comes to the mind. Then lots and lots of manual work comes into. That will bring us to our interest itself is low. So first we should show interest that it is possible for the individual to upscale him. Okay. For that we have to upskill ourselves. That is the first change we have to bring in ourselves, so that change is being reflected on the students also. So this is all the points. So this, I think, with all these discussions we have made, okay, what is happening in your institutions, what is you are doing it, how do you compact all these things. So this what is the gaps, okay? So accountability gap, okay? Next is assessment gap, alignment gap, improvement gap, competency gap, and validity gap. These gaps has to be filled, okay, for us to achieve the outcome-based education. Okay, focus on what is taught and not what is learned. Okay, so always syllabus completion becomes a goal for us. Okay, because we have a very short time. We have to see that the assessments are happening, syllabus is completed, assignments are done, all those things. It is a task. Okay, but how do we do that task? Okay, it's a different thing. Okay, next is how do you account it? And assessment should not be only memory oriented. Okay, so always see that the thinking, higher order thinking skills, like as your sessions are planned, how to see that your assignments are planned, how to have case studies based questions, and how to handle your industry aligned projects. Those things are going to help us to see that your higher order skills are going to be improved. And next is alignment graph. Okay, so when someone frames the curriculum, okay, someone teaches, okay, and someone evaluates it, okay. So it's like building a car, okay, with so many spare parts, but not all the manufacturers of spare parts are not integrated, okay. So that is how we produce our students, okay. So in that case, that alignment should be there, okay. So you can see that. So I observed in one of the institutions, like common materials and common contents are given to the class. Anyhow, our teacher insights is different. Each and every teacher teaches the concept in a different way. That is okay. But at least the students receive same kind of information. So that is also a good practice. Okay? If there are three sections or 2 sections, all the sections can be given a uniform content. Okay? So that the content fixes. It is the ability of the student to start from there. Okay, and that uniformity also will definitely help the students in some way, okay, to some extent. Okay, so that is very important. And the feedback loops are actually the everybody says that in the entire course I have got a good attainment. Fine. What is the next step? That attainment is achieved. The targeted attainment, which is expected by your management or it's done means, will you stop there? What type of practices you are doing in your institute? Maybe we have various departments here and heads of the department are also here. Maybe you can share 1 or 2 points here. So other department also will start from there. There is no uniform procedures here. Any inputs I can get here? After you see that your course is having an attainment, are you stopping there or what measures you take from it?
And once attainment those all completed, we go for the curriculum revision. And
how frequently?
Based on the course exist survey and each academic end of the semester, we go for it, we plan accordingly, and then we go for revision for the curriculum.
Any other inputs? So only curriculum revision.
We have to identify the level of attainment.
Okay. After identifying the level of attainment, only I am talking.
Action improvements.
Yeah.
Continuing.
Only curriculum design.
There are value-added courses.
Okay. From the beginning, I am keep on telling pedagogical practices. Okay. How do you teach a concept? Okay. So, like nowadays we do it question wise also, right? When you do that, how many of the questions the student was able to answer correctly? That will also like give you another type of insights. What you have to do, okay? Whether you have to change and modify the way the class is taken. As an individual responsibility, I am not talking about the department level. It is an individual responsibility to see that what is the problem is. Nowadays you don't worry about that. How do you understand that also? There are lots of AI tools for that. You give the Excel, okay? Automatically it tells you the student was not able to understand this concept clearly. You may also go for a suggestion. So that is what we have to do. Okay. Now we are in the digital era. We also have to see that we are gaining some insight. Okay. Don't see that it's like how where I will go and see question wise and all. Your task is made very simple. If you give the upload your Excel to your any chatbot, okay, it is going to give you a result. What you have to do. Then you take your measures. Okay. So it is not only to fill up your documents. Okay. Also, what strategies you can follow. So, for example, if you are teaching some subjects, okay, for example, machine learning or some subjects, you are starting with whether students are able to understand the difference between machine learning and deep learning. It's a basic question. Okay, whether they are able to understand the difference between deep learning and generative AI. Now, whether they are able to understand the difference between generative AI and agentic AI. Okay, so this all has a misconceptions again. Okay, everybody will have these misconceptions. Okay, why they are telling everything is AI. Okay, but they are telling study ML algorithm. Okay, study deep learning algorithm, study some image processing algorithm, study some generative agentic based tools. Okay, what are all these? Okay, so this will help you. Okay, like how the concepts are able to be understood by the students. I am taking for a computer science. Like this, for any evolution based courses, you will have this complexity. How to bring in that clarity. So that type of improvement gaps has to be identified. It has to be rectified. So competency gaps. Okay, soft skills. Okay, actually it is as was discussed in the previous slide. It is invisible. Okay, we have to bring it into our curriculum. And mark is not equal to competence. So these are some of the things we have to concentrate this gap and fill it in our practice.
Is there possibility to make it change, madam? Point number 6. Marks can be better formed to measure the competence. Is it possible?
So only thing again it impacts the type of questions you are going to use. So in the understanding level or remembering level if you are going to put it, then only memorization. Okay, you have to obviously improve the level of K3 level or K4 level so that your marks will be reflected on that. So this is one SPADI's four core principles which you can follow. Okay, so one is nothing but principle 1 says on clarity of focus. Another is the design down, high expectations and expand opportunities. This is like again it is formulated as a rule principle here, but whatever points we have said can be accommodated in this. Okay, always have a outcome. Okay, so what you want to do? Okay, I want to learn driving. Okay, so first what I have to do? I have to know what are the parts of the car. Okay, then only I have to start my learning. So that's how your learning should happen. So have a clear focus and what is required is nothing but always define the outcomes before you start. Okay, have a clear vision on what. So this also again aligns with your COPO mapping also. Your mission of your institute has to be defined properly. Okay, and then only your curriculums, all those things also comes. So when your outcomes in the sense, it's also about the mission and vision of your institute also you should be concentrating. Okay, so the outcome is the compass. Okay, how you are going to achieve it. Okay, next is design down. So like how I gave you an example of to build a house. Okay, they don't go and blindly lay the bricks and start constructing the house. They first design it. Okay, they plan it. Okay, and then only they will start building. Like the same way only, we also have a proper planning. Okay, so always never build up on the content or the convenience. Okay, so what is required? We have to. So that's what your industry gap we have to identify, and then you have to see that it is getting bridged to the. Next is high expectations. The system removes the arbitrary time and create multiple paths for every learning. Adaptive learning strategy, slow learner, fast learner, what type of pedagogical strategies you have to follow for each and every individual you are going to follow. And expanded opportunity. I gave you an example like don't stick on with assessment. Only one time the student assessment has to be taken. So various types of opportunities has to be given. Okay, it's not like if the student fails, ask them to submit an assignment and give marks. Okay, you have to see.
For that also the student is not available. Similarly, retest, re-retest, everything they are not coming. So that impacts our COPO mapping if we calculate
That is why that is one.
this really happen.
Yes, sir. For that only we have the student mentoring counseling process. That has to be taken very carefully. So that has to be definitely given attention, because this learners analytics, one of the important components which you have to do is nothing but the dropout rates. Okay, how frequently they are getting absent for the exams, how they fail for submitting the assignments, how frequently they are interacting with you or in the classroom sessions. All these factors will help you to understand the learners analytics, not at the end of the semester. In between, after every week also you can do this. Okay, so strict mentoring and counseling will be required, and you have to find out that type of students very early. It is our responsibility. That is a very true fact. Okay. So he is absent, like, then we are again blaming the student. Why he is absent? Okay, we have to definitely look into that perspective also, because the time he spends in a day is more than house is a college. So it is our responsibility again. We have to understand his mentality, what is required for him, or whether he needs some other direction. We have to give him a chance, so that he will also at one stage, okay, definitely he will fall in. So these are the things. Just a quick review. So produce students. What is the I see we are teaching what is mechanics for a student, mechanical engineering student. Okay, they know how to do mechanics. Okay, so nowadays in many countries, okay, so we call this engineering as white collars. Okay, they are called as blue collars. Okay, that blue collar jobs are now very much interested in foreign countries. Okay, because they want people who do the work. Okay, so the skill oriented is now focusing on to TVET education also, and this focus is shifting there also. We also have to know about this. Okay, the Viksit Bharat scheme is actually focusing on those blue collar jobs. In fact, so nowadays we have this EV vehicles, inverter ACs. Okay, none of our engineers will be able to do that. Okay, so even repairing an electronic vehicle, they cannot do it. Okay, so they also require these type of vocational streams people to do the job. So that at least where it is, we have to teach the engineering college student. So at least some exposure of these new technologies like AR and VR concepts, which has to be practically implemented for those type of courses where they visually at least see the devices, because now the system is like seeing the picture and parts they are able to learn. Okay, but there should be a realization of those tools. In fact, so in that case, this shift, okay, from content driven to competency driven education across all Indian higher education institutions are now is the OBE's practice. Okay, they are also going with OBEs. Okay, they are now, government is also trying to creditize the skill based learning also in the curriculum. Okay, so now we have this ABC, APAR, why all these things. Okay, so if you are getting an internship, okay, or a skill based training, that can also be converted as a credit. Okay, so micro learning, those are being creditized. So the students are doing them dual degrees. Okay, how many of your students are encouraged to do dual degrees in your institute? Anyone? Your NEP 2020 gives you an opportunity to do dual degree. Doing a BE here, they can also do a degree in IIT or something. Okay, any university which offers a degree, they can do it. Okay, so it is allowed.
It's not the practice.
Yes, you can ask them to do it. Some, for example, a mechanical student you can ask them to do a data science program in IT. That will equip their interdisciplinary skills. So that type of interdisciplinary and intradisciplinary activities are also nowadays expanded very much. So that is the focus of this NEP mandate, NAC criteria, NBA. See that, okay, this process, okay. So your Bloom's taxonomy mismatch should be very much particularly taken care. Uniform assessment tools, okay. Always see that ethics will not be measured by MCQs. Okay, you also have to concentrate that weak indirect attainments you have to improve, and see that your continuous quality improvements are taken. So this is about measurements, which is meaning. What we do is just measuring. Okay, but what is the meaning? Demands is nothing but, okay, you can see it on the other side. So curriculum redesign, faculty pre-trained on being COs. If there is an unnecessary COs, please remove that also. Okay, that is also advisable. Okay, having too much of COs is not to map against your POs. Okay, see that you have aligned COs.
So COs are based on the course or based on the unit. Sometimes we have a.
It should not be aligned with unit.
It's based on course.
But actually,
it's
How many are advisable? How many?
Suppose you are 3 for course outcomes and
see, with
for
3
six,
also you can do it, sir. With 3 also you can do it. But see that how much mapping you are able to get.
Most of the people are doing per unit, per CO something.
Yes, because that for question paper it is very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one, see that you have either a choice is in the same CO. That's it. Okay. That only you have to see. That how many number of COs you need not worry about. When you ask a question, okay, one in CO1 and one in CO2 you should not ask. And again, one in knowledge 1 and one in knowledge 3 you should not ask. So you should have that uniformity. And if all your courses are mapped in all the 3 COs also, it is true. It is not like.
The mapping will be having some difficulties.
That's what, sir. It's not a must and for. Okay. Again, you are for the score. You are adjusting. That's all.
If all the teachers are experienced, it's okay. Not like that.
Yes. See, it is not defined, sir. It's like you can go as per your curriculum. Now, okay. Tested under CO is retested until CO is achieved. So employers also should co-validate your outcomes annually. So in which level your institute is? Can you give me some levels? With this will conclude. What level?
Level 3. Level 3.
Level 3.
Level 3. What evidence is not in paper. Actual evidence.
2.5.
Okay. Okay. So you can also see that. Okay, we will, how far we will be able to achieve the at least the outcome of the session, outcome of this PDP program. You will see that what are the practices you can adopt, and you can see that you are able to reach your level 4. So these are the things which we will be covering in the digital tools also, learning analytics, how to do the competence heat maps, how to do micro attainment tracking. All those things we'll see in the digital tools. So already everybody is hungry. I'm completing it. Okay. So we have talked about these things.
See, I'm going to discuss some 20 different strategies that you can use. One, we are naming it as self-learning assignment. Okay. One, we are naming it as self-learning assignment. So the faculty is free to choose any one of these strategies. See, say for example, we are going to discuss another strategy called reverse engineering assignment. Okay, so likewise, I'll just name all this and I'll tell you what it is. So faculty can choose any one of this directly, and it will fit into any higher order skill. All of these strategies will fit into any higher order skill. Now, when you choose that, so this particular faculty has chosen to give this self-learning assignment. Okay, are you getting clarity on this? Not everybody will give self-learning assignment. Okay, so they'll choose different strategies. From that, they are allowed to choose one, and then they'll have to relate it with their CO and all that, which you are doing. You already said. Now see here, she has given 2 questions. This is also for the civil engineering students, it seems. So one is prepare a self-learning portfolio on an assigned climate change topic using recent literature. She is assigning topics for each of the students. So they have to come up, but they have to refer to the recent literature, and it cannot be just from an AI. They have to give the references for that. Highlight the new knowledge gained beyond classroom teaching and reflect on its importance for lifelong learning. So they have to compare and present what was taught in the class, what is the other thing that they have learned from the articles. Okay, I'll tell you, generally, when we teach in our class, we cannot cover everything because somebody said, 25
not know the topic. It happens in every other topic. There will be 2 students in your class who is really brilliant, who know what I am going to talk when I start the topic. Before I could complete, he will understand. So I cannot leave the 2 students with the knowledge that everybody gets. So that's why we have to make it as a practice. If possible, we have to give references to recent publications in that topic, which is more beyond my syllabus. If we make that as a practice, it is an input for the teacher as well as for the student. Now, if suppose I am not doing it, at least in this assignment, I am asking him to refer to the recent publications related to this topic. You teach something today, tomorrow somebody is going to say, no, this is wrong. He will publish something else, right? Every topic, every concept. So it could be for this topic or against this topic, somebody would have published. So they have to take it, compare and present it here, it seems. Are you getting my point? It's not that just referring to an article and writing. What they taught, what additionally he has referred in a recent publication, compare and present. Okay, so that is one thing. For that they are giving 50 marks, and the topics are given here for each student individually, as you said only, see here. For each student they are giving individually. Okay. And then if you look at the second one I found it really interesting. Prepare 2 to 3 minutes animated video explaining the impact of climate change on a specific sector assigned to you. So already she is assigning for some particular sector, no? So related to that, you have to have this logic. The logic is one domain, outcome first take the outcome for which you are going to create the question. Check what domain it is, then level in that domain, and then create using this first strategy.
Their application used in medical training and surgery, explained with a real world example, analyzed with a real world example.
Okay. So you would have thought only about the AR, VR and its application. You are asking them to use in a particular field and present it. Okay. Okay, sir. And in the course outcome, in the domain, if you have this. See, you are coming up with the assignment question, but what I wanted to again repeat is, you first take the course outcome, domain, level, strategy. Because when I asked innovative assignments, here told somebody said innovative assignment is I'll give a problem and they have to solve the problem. See, problem is an assignment. The strategy might look very familiar for you, but problem-based assignments need to be given. Why? Because you would have seen some student who stands who gets university first or who studies very well may not fit into the industry after they get placed. That is because when you ask the student to solve the problem individually, they'll be able to do it with the knowledge that they acquire in your class. But the major problem with today's learners is when you put them in industry as a team, they may not be able to work as a team. Why? Because you just observe, you give group work in your class and just observe. One will be telling this or that point, the other will be telling this or that point. They will not try to solve it, but they will try to put forth their point of view much. Right? So, fitting into a team itself is a problem. So, you can give work, and when you say group work, it is very much better. Okay. So, problem, there are so much problems. Though you have knowledge, though you can solve those problems, fitting into a team is a problem. So, problem-based assignment will look simple, but it always works. Okay. So, here is an example. When you give problem-based assignment, again, most of the time, we focus on creating or coming up with something new. But in today's scenario, they can create something new, but at the same time, it should be low-cost equipment. So, are you understanding low-cost equipment? For any problem in the society, you will have to make your students think of from a point that they come up with a new equipment to solve this problem, but the equipment should be of low cost. Why? Because, see, they say about low-cost equipment. They'll always have to think of coming up with a low-cost equipment. Why? Because only then it will reach to the rural parts of the country as well. If a new invention comes, if the new invention is costlier, many cannot get benefited out of it. So students should always think from the point of view that they develop something of low cost. Okay, so that's why I took this example. Student designs low-cost water filtration system. If you ask them to come up with an efficient water filtration system rather than what is prevailing today, they can come up. But it will be costlier. It cannot reach to the rural parts of the country. So So the gap here is new inventions in terms of less cost. Today there will be an equipment which is 1 crore, even in medical field. But your student should think of the same output of low cost. So such things, so that is also a problem. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There is solution for problems, but the cost is higher, which everybody in the country are not able to afford. So they can think of in a different way. So that is one thing. And the next type is case-based also you use. So I'm going to talk about this later. Project-based also you will know. Design assignment. The other one is this. If you want to note down the other names also, you can note down. After problem-based, you can give case-based assignment. Why we are naming this is, if you know the strategy, you will have a clarity of where you start, what type you use, and what strategy you have to do for that. So case-based assignment, then you have project-based design assignment. So design assignment is, you give them various parameters, based on that they design the assignment. Say for example, see here, energy efficient classroom building. Again example with respect to civil engineering. Student prepare a conceptual design incorporating natural lighting, ventilation, solar energy and sustainable material. So if you give them what you have studied related to the topic, it is just an engineering concept. But you include sustainability, you include, this could be affective domain. I will relate to what I spoke about. See here, we use energy efficient. So, environmental friendly products they have to come up with, or design they have to come up with. So that's why we talk about natural lighting, ventilation, solar energy and renewable energy they are using. And finally, sustainable material. So, they are coming up with a design, but I am giving some constraints for that design. And these constraints talk about sustainability. So it can be mapped to affective domain. So why we are giving such assignments is, in higher order is, tomorrow when he goes to the industry, a civil engineer doesn't only think of coming up with an infrastructure or a design that is very attractive, but he thinks of sustainability as well. Right? Not just cognitive domain, but we are trying to bring in affective domain as well. Yes, sir? So the next would be research-based assignment. Do you give research-based assignment? Any faculty from MBA department? I am basically from MBA. Though I work in rural and entrepreneurship development. No. Okay, fine. So, research-based assignment. Do you give research-based assignments?
Some survey questions you give.
Survey questions you give your student. See, we are talking about course outcome, we are talking about program outcomes and all. You can, just I'm telling you as a faculty, have you ever checked whether the students are understanding what is course outcome, whether they are knowing their attainment? You can conduct such surveys with the student itself. Have you ever tried? No. Just I'm telling you, research-based assignment will give a real-time outcome for you. Just a common example I'll tell you. If it is MBA, just I'm telling you, we teach marketing, right? So in marketing, most of the time, the assignments would be research-based assignment, which means we'll ask them to collect data from the customers, at least from 50 customers, analyze and present it as an assignment, wherein they are going to the field, collecting data, they are working on it and presenting. See, now we have huge lot of secondary data. You can ask students to collect secondary data, analyze it and present it as an assignment. Okay? Has anyone given research-based assignment? Yes or no? I'm sorry, the topic everything is going on.
From second year they have many projects. Before that they go for this research-based assignment. Maybe it's
to identify the problem.
Yes.
See, one type of assignment which will be mapped to your higher order is research-based assignment, which means be it any stream in your engineering, no need to go in for collecting primary data also. They can take some secondary data that is already available. Any data that is available in the website. If it needs to be authenticated, they can go on to the government websites and take data. Okay, so now lots of data are published. They can analyze the data and present. You tell them what they have to do clearly. From this website, take data, analyze and present. So that everybody in your class will come to know about it. So a kind of a small research-based assignments can be given. I am not talking to the level of a project. Not to the level of a project. Okay, I am only talking about the basic research-based assignment. Or another example could be, ask them to refer 5 articles related to this topic. Combine and present. You do that, yes. That is also research-based only. secondary data they take and they are just
present what it all says together.
Yes. Okay. So such kinds of research-based things also can be done. So recent advances in battery technology. See, battery technology somebody will be teaching in class, and today the technological growth is in such a way that if I teach in first year, before you could go to the final year, technology changes. So what I teach, when the syllabus was framed, I teach only battery technology. So if I ask them to collect recent advances, means recent research only, research articles from reputed journals. If he's going to take at least 5 and present, combine it and present, that's going to be research based as well as new inputs for them and also for the class. And industry oriented assignments. You send the students to industry for a short duration. That's again for project. I'm not talking about internship projects and all. I'm only talking about assignment. Industry means no need to go be in the industry for a long time. There are industries who are ready to give you the project.
One day we get the
Will it be related to the
Madam, here industry oriented assignments are trying to identify one industry problem. It is not going to the industry directly. One real-time problem in the industry is going to identify, sitting here itself, and try to come up with a solution for that problem. Real-time problem identifying from an industry point of view. Not going to the industry, but to maybe while coming up with a solution, he might visit on his own or something. See, when madam is asking, we go for IVs, no? IV normally they will come and submit a report saying that we started this time, we went there, we saw this.
what they learned?
Everybody will submit the same thing only, madam. No.
The content will be different.
The way of writing, will be different. But if suppose, since you are asking that question, if you wanted to make it as an industry-oriented assignment, maybe before going to the industry, you can brief about the industry, say that just identify your problem and come back when we go to the industry. Though they are not going to discuss there. So when they come back, you can make them as groups and ask them to present a report. Instead of just writing a report, that can be made as an assignment. So the next is community-based assignment. This will, see, you have this outreach programs and all, no? Outreach programs. NSS, NCC, mainly they are going for outreach, but you take your students to communities? Yes, some students. Apart from, so you can make, I'll tell you what it is. So community-based assignment is taking them to, sometimes to vulnerable communities. Like you take them to a rural community. There, whatever they have learned, they'll see practically, try to map with it and come up with a solution. See, you have your outreach, no? In your accreditation, you have something called outreach.
We can call this as experiential learning.
Experiential learning. Experiential learning is, I go to an industry in an urban area also, I get that experience. Community, when we use this word community-based assignments, I'll give you one example. If you take any medical college, they'll have one hospital, they'll run one hospital in the rural area nearby. It is a requirement for their accreditation, so they do it. But why do they do it is, they need to know, apart from, see, they give treatment for free in the community, that is one thing, community is getting benefited. The other one is, there is lots of learning when I put myself into the community. Tomorrow whom I am going to handle. So they get that exposure, they get different kinds of patients. It's not easy to deal with every patient alike. So they serve the community, in turn they get experience out of that. So that's why according to their accreditation norms, they definitely have one, they would have adopted one community, they'll have one hospital in that community and they do it. This community, they'll have something called community medicine itself. They'll have a department. Okay, just I'm trying to relate. But
how do we relate this with our engineering?
Yes, ma'am. See, when you want the students to solve community-based problems, say for example, some problem will not prevail in urban areas, but it will be a big challenge in the rural area. The same technology. Water, you teach technologies, no ma'am. We talk about AI. Or let me take my own example. I teach about entrepreneurship. So what we do is we equip faculty, we tell them if somebody wants to become entrepreneur, comes to you in your campus, what you have to do. But to a teacher in an urban setup, what I teach, they can do it because they have incubation centers nearby. But the same content, when I teach to a teacher in a rural area, the same thing cannot be applied there because the constraint college website. Website, no, nowadays I don't know about your college website, but many of the universities, some universities nowadays they are coming up with the website in such a way that people who are physically challenged are also able to access it. Say for example, if somebody has impairment in hearing or with eyesight and all, no, you will have a button which if you click, it will explain everything in that screen. So you include people who cannot see this. Okay, likewise, no, see, when you see a website, you see visual content and you also hear what is being played. Now if somebody cannot hear, everything should be conveyed in the form of the visual aid itself. So here inclusivity comes. So every technology, inclusivity should be there. So how to bring in there? They'll have to go to the community and see. The example is accessibility audit. See, students assess public building for accessibility by elderly and differently abled persons and recommend improvements. Since we are going for accreditation, we know there should be a facility for, we know that. But as a student, when you ask them, civil engineer, you ask them to design a building, he'll design. Maybe as a teacher, I'll say like, there should be inclusivity and all that. But its importance, or let me take a very basic example. When a few years back, when we had this flood, I think 2015, when we had a big flood, have you heard that there was one popular hospital, is that near Punamali, Neon Hospital. Neon Hospital, what happened now? Many people who were in ventilators in ICU, they died. That was the news that came. That is because of sudden flood, no? The generators and other equipments, it got shut down completely, and this has happened. But actually, as per what a student studies, they study something called hospital infrastructure planning. Okay, how do I know about it is, prior to this employment, I was working in Sri Ramachandra University teaching hospital management. So I had seen there's one subject called hospital planning. In that it is clearly given that these kinds of generators in the hospital should not be kept in the ground floor or the first floor. It should always be elevated. That is one rule. Okay, somebody would have, see, every hospital, somebody would have planned, somebody would have implemented, but they had missed out this particular point. So suddenly when there is flood or something, see, there should not be any power disconnectivity, especially in ICUs. But it happened. Why? Because they have studied, they would have concentrated on the infrastructure, but the essential things in that particular domain was missed out. Right? So such kinds of things, that's the example given here. So when I know the basics of a building, maybe the basic things I learned, but particular to a particular domain like the hospitals, those rules also have to be known. If we implement, it can avoid such scenarios. Right? So such kinds of community-based assignments can be given. You can ask people to go to community. Go to the communities means going to the rural areas. That is the main thing. And inclusively, these two, if you try to accessibility, if you try to give such assignments, it will be useful. Can you try coming up with such assignments? Can you think of in this aspect and try to come up with some examples?
Actually, virtual forum like Microsoft platform also we are having community-based assignment. Like we have to deal with vulnerable students.
Vulnerable students.
So for that, if we deal with them, they will be providing us mentoring certifications.
Okay, so you have to teach to those students virtually.
Yes.
Okay.
They have to take a mentor.
Okay. See, as Sir says, I'll continue with that story. Sir says to vulnerable groups. Say, for example, people in interior parts of the country where they don't get access to this kind of education, vulnerable groups like tribes and all, you connect virtually and you teach them, so they give you mentorship and all that. Access to these groups. So what government is doing is, there not be internet connectivity as we have there, right? So they have some centers, government is having some centers for 2-3 villages where they can come and their connectivity will be there and virtual learning will happen. All this, when I tell us a story in this class, you will understand. But when you do it as an assignment, try to get the data, where it is happening, how far it has been implemented and all that, it can be converted as an assignment. An example I am telling you. A new invention comes when it is implemented, what has happened to the community. That can be evaluated. Can you think of this kind of assignment and
developing some software kind of applications to learn AI or something, for education purpose, and we can launch it in the rural areas, the illiterates come literates.
Yes, and one more thing is they can even come up with how to use a particular website. See, say for example, we have e-commerce websites. What does this Amazon and Flipkart do? They connect buyers and sellers. Now, if suppose I am a seller, if I am in a rural area, it is easy for me to connect and put my product there. If suppose I am in a vulnerable group, sitting in some other part of the country, where even if I have internet, I don't know that such things are available and how to do it and all. So for them, they can, at least they have to think of these people. That is our intention. Then trying to identify what are the facilities they have and trying to make it as an assignment and submit it. Likewise, IoT devices, if it's CC, AAA and all, trying to come up with those devices which should be useful for these groups. Like that. Can you try coming up with such assignments from this angle, community-based assignments? Because if I keep talking for some more time, no, then it will not be good for you as well as for me. This group, inclusivity or this thing they have to think about related to what concept they study. Please take the course outcome and then try to do it. I know it's difficult to do in an afternoon session, but please. Few departments said they are not able to do it. Okay, see, one strategy also, then you can try creating one assignment question as a group of any of these strategies, but I want the logical ones, the goals outcome and goals logical, right? Yes. So, we have discussed about community-based assignment. I hope you understood of what is community-based assignment. So, it should be like you are trying to make your students think of the other communities also, which means the vulnerable group, inclusivity, and also going beyond of what is possible here may not be possible when it's being implemented in the other community. So you're trying to make them to think of in a broader perspective, in a societal level, right? And then experiential assignment. Somebody asked, no, is this experiential learning? Yeah, okay, yeah, experiential learning. So experiential assignment. So out of their own experience, you give them a work, that whatever they experience, they have to write. Here again, no trying to use any AI tool or just trying to copy can be avoided. An example is students learn through direct observation, field visits, experiments or practical exposure. Renewable energy plant visit, from your question, industrial visit. So students visit a solar power plant, observe operations and prepare a report connecting observation with theoretical concept. Not the report which you said, no, just writing what you saw there, but try to identify a problem there or some uniqueness that they have observed there. Okay, and try to put it as an assignment, which we call it as experiential assignment. And then we have simulation basis. This also somebody asked me, no, simulation based in KTM. Okay. Simulation based assignment. So what could be simulation based assignment? What could be simulation based assignment? Simulation tools, we have so much of simulation tools, and trying to come up with a prototype also sometimes, but not to for an assignment level, coming up with a prototype is not that required because it comes under your projects and all that. But morning, your principal sir was talking about idea lab, no? This is so what do you actually do in your idea lab? It is mainly meant for IoT devices. So this is specialized with respect to IoT devices related projects. Okay. See, you have incubation center here in your university or something. Other incubation center would be there. I don't know whether it's there. Yeah. University, you have Atal Incubation Center, right? So what this incubation centers will usually do is, I'll tell you. See, students from different specialization or different stream, they'll have an idea of coming up with something new. And to come up with a prototype, it is not that easy. You at least need a 3D printer, example, to come up with a prototype. And the 3D printer, I need to have an access to it. See, when you want to come up with a prototype, nowadays, there are so much of 3D printers available. Wherein at least you can show the design part of it, right? So now, if a student has access to incubation centers, it will be easy for them to come up or at least visit them. You know the requirements that can be made as an assignment. And usually, any incubation center will be equipped in maximum any 3 areas. Which means, if suppose, I'm taking an example, they said biotechnology, no? If suppose an incubation center is specialized in biotechnology, which means there are all the equipments related to biotechnology. If suppose it's 3D, if they are specialized in 3D printing, they have all the equipments related to or some equipments related to 3D printing. And usually, Atal Incubation Centers, AIC, called. So any Atal Incubation Center will be specialized minimum 1 and maximum only 3, not more than that. So any incubation center will not be specialized in everything. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to tell? See, if it is IoT, if it's maximum, they can go up to 3. Why? Because it means like when somebody wants to come up with a prototype or wants to become an entrepreneur, they go to that incubation center, they get all the guidance with respect to that particular area. So now, with respect to manpower or equipment, nobody can have a center with everything. So that's why there is a restriction, minimum 1, maximum 3. So you can send your students to visit such incubation centers, try to identify what can be done with their idea and at least present it as an assignment, not actually coming up with a prototype. At least to this extent they can try doing it. At least trying to know where is the incubation center related to their particular field. They are doing some base work and presenting. That itself will help them, okay, for such kinds of simulation based assignments. And an example here is traffic flow simulation. You have softwares where you can come up with a model for traffic movement. And next comes reverse engineering assignment. Reverse engineering assignment. Somebody said you have a subject on reverse engineering. Yes, is it so? Madam's last time you had. Okay. So, what is reverse engineering? Giving an assignment with respect to reverse engineering will have so much of impact and also it will be related to higher order and you can relate it to any course outcomes of any domain. Any domain means cognitive or affective. It will fit in. Okay, so we'll see what it is. So they'll be studying the existing product by dismantling or analyzing it to understand its design and functioning. Okay, it will fit into psychomotor domain also. That is, they learn theoretically in cognitive domain. You ask them to take such a product. It may not be it no need to be a big product. A small product which they use in their day-to-day life. Ask them to dismantle it and try to put it or when they do it, whatever they experience, ask them to submit as an assignment. That will help. See, we have IoT, small IoT devices, maybe such kinds of devices you can ask them to dismantle, try to identify what happens if I cut this, that and all, and then try to write down their own experience as an assignment, reverse engineering. So if we have facilities, we can ask them to do with real equipment. If not, at least small equipments which they use in their day-to-day life related to your topic, you can ask them to do it. Okay, so you're going to come up with one such example later on. So I like mixer analysis. So student dismantle household mixer grinders there, no? If suppose, just an example, if it's mechanical or related, they can dismantle something, try to assemble it. That experience they have to note down, or at least a video of it should be taken and it can be submitted. So small reverse engineering assignments, and then data-driven assignment. The other one is data-driven. Why do we give importance to data? Why do we give importance to data? Right? See, when you are taking a decision, okay, when you are taking a decision, it is out of your own intuition, out of your experience, you take some decisions. But if the decision is backed up with the data, we call it as data-driven decision, and also we call it as informed decision. So students should have the practice. An example I'll tell you. If suppose I wanted to take a decision on, you want to take a decision on on the students whom you want to send for the final exam and all based on the attendance. Right? You don't do it by yourself. You take the attendance, you see how many people have fulfilled this attendance, how many have not done it. Then you take a decision of for whom you can give some. You'll ask them to pay some fine and all, or get some letters and allow them, or whom not to allow. All these decisions we take after we analyze this data. Right? So analyzing a data, taking a decision, we call as informed decision. So this informed decision is a characteristic which a student has to get once he goes to an industry. For that, such kinds of assignments, if I give in my class, we call it as data-driven assignments. To cultivate this habit. Again, it will fall under affective domain. Yes, everybody are looking at me only, but I don't know whether it was self-talk. Everybody is seriously looking at me, especially after this break. Okay. I don't know. Right? Okay. So,
can you please repeat?
Yes, sir. So, data-driven assignments, mainly you give these assignments, you make them to work on data, then take a decision. Why we are giving this assignment is, when they go to industry, they should have a practice of taking any decision based on data, because this kinds of decisions are termed as informed decision. See, we can take decision, like whether I can continue this class or leave you early, it's a decision, right? But back with data, we see the timing, then decide, right? So that we don't, we are confident enough in taking the decision. So any decision, when you take the set of data, analyze and take a decision, whether it's going to be small or big decision, so we call it as informed decision. So now, informed decision is essential for any professional in their work setup. How do I cultivate it? I cultivate it by giving these kinds of assignments. Wherever possible, ask them to collect data, secondary data, analyze it, and then present it. And then take decision to solve any problem. When it becomes a habit, this characteristic of informed decision will be cultivated. So when we talk about the characteristic, it falls in a which domain? Affective domain. It's not just cognitive domain. We try to bring in, whenever you give assignments which enhances their leadership quality, their characteristic, we call it as affective domain. So such kinds of assignments can also be given. And see, this is a very campus energy consumption analysis. See, we gave it to our students. See, in our in NATTR, we don't have much of regular PG programs. No regular PG programs. Only weekend programs we have. But earlier we had in one or two branches regular PG program role. Like only 4 or 5 students, any students will be there. And for them, one of the in mechanical engineering, they had given this kinds of assignment, I think. So they used to come to every department, they'll check the energy consumption, like if a faculty is sitting, if all the lights and the fans on, they'll analyze. They have submitted a small report. Like they'll say, ma'am, why you're sitting here, why don't you switch on that light? So they'll see how much energy is being saved because of such activities, and they presented a report. So real time I've seen such things which will be interesting for students also to do. So such kinds of assignments can be given. And then entrepreneurship based assignment. I'll have to talk about it, so I'm talking about it because I'm from that department, right? So entrepreneurship based assignment. So I don't want to talk much about it, but why we can give entrepreneurship based assignment, I tell you. We always tell our students to be creative, innovative, all that is fine. If you take their final year project and see, some students would have done excellent projects, no? When they present itself, Why? Why?
It has to be
It has to be patented. Okay. Then
Small cost.
copyrights, cost. Okay. So imagine I have a diagram, but it will take, and if possible, I will show you. See, imagine sometimes we appreciate certain things, but we will not be willing to purchase those things. We will appreciate certain invention, but we will not be willing to purchase, because when you ask whether this is good, it is good. But is it worth paying and buying? No. Okay, this will make my life easier. But should I spend 1,000 rupees for that? Is that worth? All of those things will come in our mind. So every product that is being innovative, that is being invented, that you appreciate as a project cannot be commercialized. Okay, so project-based assignment is students combine technical knowledge with business thinking to develop entrepreneurial solution. That is, whether it is viewed as a project or in later it can be commercialized. That understanding should be with the student. When you give such kinds of assignments, it will be easy for students to understand. I'll just show you one clipping, okay, related to this so that you will understand. Innovation starts with problem identification, right? So I'll tell you 3 steps. You can just keep that in mind and look at each of this picture. Any innovation starts off with problem identification. First, we have to identify the problem. Second, for the identified problem, we have to think of different solutions. Then evaluate each and every. These different solutions, we call it as creative solutions. We evaluate these solutions, finally choose one and make it as a product, which we call it as innovative product. Problem identification, creative solution, innovative product. Okay, remember these 3. Now we'll see this. See the first picture, no, top left picture. What do you see there? A baby wearing a hat. What could have been the problem there? What is the innovative product there? Obviously the cap, right? Okay. So now, what would have been the problem for which this cap would have been made?
Water goes to
So
water.
every time we give head shower to a baby, usually the soap and water gets into the eyes. But what we normally do? We cover. We somehow manage. But somebody has thought that is a problem, and for that problem, they would have come up with various solutions. Finally, they have picked one solution, and that's how this innovative product has come. If you look at that product, what do you think the material would be? Plastic or rubber kind of material. I also don't know, I took it from this link only. Okay. It could have been some rubber or plastic product, kind of synthetic kind of product. And look at the design, no? It is not flat throughout. It is made in such a way that the water falls, comes down and falls. So, 2-3 things they have considered, like how to place it in the baby's head, everything they have considered, and they have finally come up with this innovative product. Before they could come up with this product, they would have various ideas. One is to make it with plastic, to make it with rubber, to make it with different materials. Second, how to place it in the baby's head, then what is the design. So various things they would have come. Finally, they chose one creative solution and implemented it, it became an innovative product. So problem identification, creative solution, innovative product. Now, tell me, is that a good innovation?
Yes.
Is that a good innovation? Yes. Yes, and so yes. Okay. Now, tell me, how much will you believe, I mean, if suppose you face this particular problem, how much will you be willing to pay to buy this particular product? 100 rupees? Okay, madam, 100 rupees for that. Then 50 rupees. Okay, then somebody says 500. Up to 500 she's willing to pay. Okay, 500. Okay, so to get 100 to 150, to get rid of this problem, 100 to 150, or we'll take the maximum up to 500. If suppose I'm going to price this as 2,000 rupees, will you buy? No. Will the problem exist? Yes. But you're able to manage with the problem? Yes. So this is entrepreneurship based assignment. You have to get that, which means though your solution is innovative, people will be willing to buy based on they have the problem, but they will consider various other factors to decide on whether it can be commercialized or not. Right? Now just look at the second one. Since I opened this, let me explain the second one. What would have been the problem? What is the innovation there? The table with the sofa set. Table, I mean the wooden piece attached to the sofa set. What would have been the problem? Usually when we place, imagine when we go to somebody's house, they give us coffee or tea. Sofa will be very comfortable, we'll be sitting, and we'll struggle to come forward and keep it, and to pick that also we'll struggle. And imagine elderly people, it's difficult. If they keep on the sofa also, it will spill. So somebody has thought of bringing the tea table into the sofa itself. So it is very comfortable looking. And the second problem would have been space also. To save space, they would have done it. Okay. So now, problem, create a solution. Finally, this solution they have come up with. So this is a very simple solution. Maybe people will be willing to pay for it. Now coming to the third one, there also you have a problem. It's a 2-in-1, ironing as well as mirror. Okay. So it's a 2-in-1. Here, you only give a problem, ask them to come up with a solution, but there is a constraint with that solution. They should be able to commercialize that solution. They should think of that and write the assignment. Are you getting my point? So it will become product-based, entrepreneurship-based assignment. If you leave it only with innovation, it cannot be an entrepreneurship-based assignment, right? And here, this is also a good product. All this product I've seen only in the internet. Okay, I do have not seen this product. See, this is like if you keep more wires. Now, sir has put in so much of wires in my laptop also. So if I wanted to remove this, I have to check which one and I have to remove. And every time we'll spend some time to remove those messed up wires, right? So this small black color piece, which you attach to the wall, it will help you to use it and put it there. So next time you don't need to spend time to remove the messed up wires. So that's a small innovation. Maybe they'll price it 50 rupees or 100 rupees. So people may buy. And the middle one I haven't seen, but I learned that it is a USB where without plugging in, you will know the left out memory in the USB, it seems. And finally, the other one, whenever you are mixing hot and cold water, what you do? You will touch and see whether it's too hot or too cold. Especially when they are using it in laboratories, they want water in a particular temperature. So to monitor that, they have kept a monitor over the lab. So what I am trying to tell you is, problem identification, problem-based assignment is, you will come only till identifying a problem. Innovative solution also, they can come up with, that is project-based assignment or problem-based, like location-based assignment, they will come up with a solution. But when you wanted to make them to write an entrepreneurship-based assignment, you have to ask them to find out the feasibility of whether the innovation can be commercialized in these aspects. Yes? Then interdisciplinary assignment. Interdisciplinary assignment. See, now everything is interdisciplinary only. It is not that mechanical engineer should know only mechanical. If that is the case, he cannot position himself in the industry. So making him think out of the box. The video that I played is a very good example, wherein you ask him to do something but create something apart from this domain. So he learns something new. So trying to relate relate this particular concept with some other domain related to this particular domain, which should be useful in the industry, asking them to come up with such assignments. So students integrate concepts from multiple disciplines to solve complex problems. So smart healthcare monitoring system. So you need electronics, software, communication technologies and all that, but you are just integrating the concepts alone. They are not coming up with. If they are coming up with, it cannot be an assignment. See, assignment means you are giving, how many marks will you give for an assignment? 40 marks. So assignment is one component and seminar is the other component.
So seminar comes.
What is your internal component? Seminar comes. 40. Either assignment, you give one assignment or 2. 60 marks is the final exam.
Yes. No, madam, the internal marks we have, assessment we have, correct for 60 only. Final exam we go for 100 and we convert.
Convert பண்ணும்போது how much is that and how much is this?
60
40 marks is internal, right? So 40 marks க்கு நீங்க தாராளமா you can give a bigger task also. அப்படியே see, just imagine 100 marks is learning, he is putting in so much of effort, writing which is getting converted to 60 marks. examination. That's why I related it to open book examination. It's like an examination only. 20 marks from everybody for the final exam, but you're giving it as an assignment. So don't just give it to a lower level like they can just write. Effort more on you think of it in this aspect. 20 marks you're going to get. Okay, so in that aspect you can give, but no need to ask them to come up with a new invention, but thought processes they can make it as an assignment and they can submit. Then AI assisted assignment. So using AI tools responsibly.
Whatever assignments we got,
everything is there. There's one logic there always. If you ask people not to do, they'll do it. Okay, if you ask students not to refer to AI, not to refer to this, they'll do it. Okay, and you also, I don't think you're checking your assignments for AI content, no? That and all you don't do, right? Or you're doing initiated. Very nice. Okay. So AI rephrasing also it will identify, yeah. Okay, very nice.
Plagiarism, yeah.
Plagiarism, AI doesn't come up with plagiarism. So AI content. So checking for AI content.
Yes.
See, it gives you plagiarism report. AI, there is no plagiarism report, plagiarism at all. Maybe 5% or 7%. But if you check for AI written content, it will show. Rephrasing will come in. Earlier only AI written content will be showing. Now it is showing rephrasing. In a university they have got. So recently, earlier it showed only AI written content. Now it is showing AI rephrased content also. Okay, so that is another one. Coming to this, AI assisted assignment. See, when I was telling you course outcome, domain, I said you can use AI. Okay, AI can be used. Enhance, see, utilizing AI or trying to use AI, there should be a purpose behind it. That is, it saves our time. Now I told you to come up with an assignment. And madam said, I'm not able to relate it to my department. So I told her, give these keywords, course outcome, domain, what you want, what domain you want, everything you give. Then ask AI to generate. There's nothing wrong in it. But without having the knowledge, whatever title was given to me, higher order, designing higher order assignments. If you ask AI, design a higher order assignment for my subject in this topic, it will give. That is not ethical. Because I haven't mapped with my CEO, I haven't put in the basic efforts that is required for a teacher. I directly ask an AI, which is not ethical. So ethically using AI is not wrong. So that's why this particular type of assignment where you tell students to utilize AI, okay, and complete the task. Students use AI tools responsibly. That word is very important. Either it could be students or faculty. Responsibly to support learning, design, analysis or innovation while critically evaluating outcome. Which means, whatever you ask in ChatGPT, is it giving the right output? Sometimes, many times it gives you the wrong output because it basically works on three things, right? Many of you will be knowing. One is, it learns. Second is, it is trained to the set of data. Third is, there is an algorithm. If there is any error in these three, intentionally or unintentionally, the output is wrong. Right? See, I have a ChatGPT account. Everybody has, right? If I go ask ChatGPT to type a letter to my director stating I am on OD here and all, it will type. What it will type and give, what do you think the output will be?
It will be very generic.
Tell me how it will be. How it will be?
From your name?
From my name, automatically to director. How does it do? It learns. Suppose if another faculty in my laptop asks ChatGPT to draft a letter with the reason, it will state the reason and all correctly. But what from where it will be? From Jacqueline, not from her. Now since I know my name, she knows her name, we can correct it. But if we don't know, if we do not know this particular information, I'll take the output and implement. Then it is unethical and also what we do is wrong, right? So that need to be communicated to the student. So ethical use of AI can be stressed on by giving an assignment saying that they can refer to AI, but where they can refer to what extent and all that should be informed to them, right? So that is AI assisted assignments, right? What happened, ma'am? What happened? Any doubts in this? Okay. And you are asking them to critically evaluate the output also, whether it is right or wrong. Then challenge-based assignment. Challenge-based assignment.
See, these are like you give an assignment without a predefined solution path. So I was telling them an example during the break. Any mathematics teacher is here? Usually what we do, whenever, not only mathematics, but whenever there is a derivation, we will say the answer should be positive. It should be from 0 to 1. If it goes beyond 1, it is wrong. If it is negative, it is wrong. So what a student will do, he'll try to solve. If the answer is 0 to 1, if not, he'll go back, like he'll try to go back and he'll try to change something. So teacher also will give step mark. This is what happens. But now, in this type of challenge-based assignment, even if he's going to get -1, we have to ask him to justify why not. We only teach them why. We tell them 0 to 1 should be the answer because that is within the control. We teach everything. But if it is beyond that control, if it is -1 or greater than 1, why it is happening? That has to be analyzed and that can be as an assignment. Are you understanding? Yes. In class, you teach only what is right. You ask them to submit the assignment on what if it goes beyond. Okay, for that you can use AI also. But at least while using AI, we learn something and writes, no? So that is allowed, challenge-based assignment. And reflection assignment. Reflection assignment. Reflection assignment is on learning experience decision. I'll tell you one example for reflection related to teachers. You can relate it to students. See, do you know of, like, are you aware of conducting quizzes using online tools? We have so many online tools today, digital tools, where in a class I can conduct a quiz. If suppose I'm conducting an online quiz now, all 40 of you will participate. Once the quiz is over, if I submit, all your evaluation will be available here. Right? Now imagine I have taught for nearly 2 hours or 2 hours, basically 2.5 hours. Okay. Now I have given some content in this 2.5 hours. And imagine I'm going to ask some 10 questions related to this 2.5 hours content through this online quiz. Once you all give answers. Once I submit, an evaluation comes. And you will be keen enough in knowing your percentage. And as a teacher, what I will do, I will see the percentage of right answer for each and every question. If suppose 10 questions you have given reply. For all the questions, the mark is average percentage is above 70%. But there is one question where the percentage of mark is only 20%, which means all of you, most of you have given wrong answer for that question. Now, can that be a reflection for my teaching? There is something wrong in the way I have conveyed that content. Yes. When most of you are giving a wrong answer, my intention would be right. I have conveyed something. But the way I conveyed, you have understood it wrong. Right? So it is reflection. So self-reflection. So such kinds of assignment. Now, students critically reflect on their learning experience, decisions and outcomes. Okay, so project reflection report can also be done. Like when they are submitting an assignment, tomorrow we are going to see about rubrics. Again, afternoon session only for me. Okay, so that's the sake I has given all afternoon sessions only. Okay, so assignments only I have spoken about. How to evaluate assignments, types of rubrics, we'll see tomorrow afternoon. So in that, if I am giving rubrics, there are also clear assessments. So if you have a clear rubrics, say for example, ma'am is submitting an assignment, sir is submitting an assignment. I have a clear rubric. So peer assessment is one person will be evaluating the other person's assignment based on the rubrics. Okay, so and if suppose I myself evaluate my assignment based on a rubric, I will critically know what has gone wrong. If suppose it is not given earlier, it is given only now, and you evaluate your assignment based on your rubrics, you will know what has gone wrong. So likewise, you give them a task and out of their own experience where they had missed out, where they can improve, that they have to analyze and present it. Again, it depends on scenario based or project based only they can capture and write it. Such kinds of things can be given. See here, after completing a design project, student discusses the challenges faced, mistakes made and all that. And then collaborative assignments, which you already give, team-based assignments. See, these collaborative assignments, you can use any one of the strategies that I have told earlier, but particularly these collaborative assignments, we are giving because the reason is students are not fitting into properly, I always struggle. That's why we give them teamwork, we give them collaborative work. Okay, so all that. I'll just tell you one example. In one of the DTs, that is diploma education, no? See, NITR basically, apart from all these courses, we take care of diploma education in all the states in South India. So mainly, faculty working in government sectors in these polytechnics and states like Karnataka, Andhra and all, they come to us. And one of the states, what they have done is, they have just tried out this methodology in their diploma education itself, in their practical exams. How do you conduct practical exam usually? How do you conduct practicals?
4 members.
4 members.
One experiment we will do by 4 members.
One experiment.
Actually, mechanical.
Normally, we'll teach some
For
10
AS
experiments.
program.
10 experiments, 10 papers will be there. So he'll come take a paper and go. And with that paper only, he'll write the aim, he'll do the experiment, take the measurement, write the output. And what they tried, no, in diploma level, really they tried. Okay. What they tried is, in their exams, they made the pattern in such a way that when I enter into the exam hall, I have to take one sheet. I have to write the aim. And I have to do the experiment, note down the reading. And then I have to stop, give that sheet to the other person, which they are allowed. With my reading, he has to do the calculation. And somebody else has to write the output. Okay, not everything is not done by me. They are dividing it. To complete, I understand this one, I'll write the aim, I'll do the experiment, write the reading, that's all. My reading, she will do the calculation. And somebody else reading, I will do the calculation. And somebody else will be interpreting the output and writing. Okay, they implemented in diploma level just because they wanted to bring in this collaborative learning. Okay, so such kind of things. See, evaluate, they had clear rubrics and they implemented it. They tried it, I don't know whether it was implemented actually, but they tried it in one of the semesters. And this open book examination also, diploma in Telangana, they tried it. Diploma level, they are trying it out certain things. With one subject or something, they are trying it out these. So, what I'm trying to tell you is, this is collaborative assignment. It is not that 3 people doing the same thing coming here and presenting. Okay, if somebody in a team is going to, see in bank and all they do, no? Job rotation they do. That is, a cashier will know cashier job, he also will know the other job, everything they know. So likewise, if I leave something half, somebody should be able to continue. So that kind of collaborative assignments, from that angle you will have to think. Collaborative is not doing together and presenting together, where one will do, others will not do, all that. Okay. So they should be able to have knowledge, not completely. Even if somebody is leaving something halfway, I should be able to complete it. That is collaborative assignment. And then innovation assignment is a topic itself, so I'm not going to talk much about it. Sustainability assignment. Okay. Sustainability, for that only I do this. Sustainability, policy and sustainability is, see, already there are some policies laid down. No? Say for example, we have SDG goals. SDG goals, 17 goals or 18 goals, 17 goals. 17 goals, whatever it is, we are only keeping that as a earmark and we are working towards it. But somebody can think this can be in this way. And 17 goals, if you can ask them to bring it to 8 goals, or you can ask them whether anything is left out, which they think can bring in terms of sustainability or in terms of already existing policies or documents. Somebody can review, put in their own views, and the annual effective assignments, it falls under policy and sustainability assignment. And finally, failure analysis assignment. So failure analysis. A system has failed. Why it has failed? See, government implements various policies or various new inventions are there. When it is being implemented, something fails. Why it has failed? Any failure in your respective field, it could be current, related to the topic that you teach, whatever it is, why it has happened. I mean, they have to think of it, come up with a solution. Right? So that is failure analysis assignment. Okay, trying to identify the root cause, thinking problem-based skills, using their skills to find out a solution to that. All this is failure analysis assignment. So I have just given you, I'll quickly give a recap of whatever we have seen. We started off with, if you remember, in instructional outcomes. What are the 3 domains we spoke about? Cognitive, affective, and psychological. So cognitive is based Bloom's taxonomy in cognitive, you also have to look on to the Bloom's taxonomy in affective and psychomotor. Identify that from your syllabus. One part is over. Second, try to connect it with the open book examination with broad time limits, because you get internal marks for this. So that should be that seriously taken. Now, so the course outcome, decide on what level you are going to give the assignment, which domain you are going to give, and then use any one of the strategy to frame your assignments. So it will fall in the higher order of any one of the